Hey guys, welcome back. This is, what is it? Week 17 predictions? Yeah, week
Week
17
17.
predictions and week 16 recap. So, we'll get started right away. Um, Saints and Rams. It was a pretty high scoring game for the Rams for the most part. Um, there wasn't really a whole lot from that game besides the Saints coming back, but the Rams have kind of gotten back to their um form a couple years ago. So it was looking good for them.
Yeah, that went about as I expected. Rams just looked better, but Rams are my concern with the Rams is their ability to close games. Um, they've had
Yeah.
back-to-back weeks of almost allowing
Um,
uh a comeback with a three-score lead or yeah, three possession lead. So uh I have my concerns there, but I'm not really surprised with the outcome. So yeah.
okay. Bengals and Steelers, a bit disappointing, especially on the Bengals part.
Uh,
Three interceptions for Browning, which is not good at all. Rudolph had a game because it's Christmas. Rudolph. I mean, the name works on that.
that's
So it's kind of a um, Christmas kind of thing. So
yeah, well,
good
I
for
mean,
him.
you know how the song goes. With his nose so
Yeah,
bright, he did guide the sleigh that night.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
the defense got three interceptions off of Browning, so it was a pretty well-run game. Yeah, Pickens had two touchdowns,
Yeah,
195 yards, so he had a game.
he had a really good day.
Uh, yeah, Warren showed Pickens how to block. hmm I saw that highlight. I was like, there's a demonstration. I'll go do it. Let's see here. Yeah, that's all from that game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um, Buffalo and the Chargers was a lot closer than I think most people expected. Um, I can't say I'm surprised just because, the trend of um interim head coaches outshining the prior head coach is just it has been the thing for years.
Mhm.
So I'm not surprised that the week after getting rid of Brandon Staley, the Chargers actually kind of played a game. And they still were playing with Easton Stick though and everything. So it's just what it was for them to keep it as close as they did was impressive. But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, nothing too much from that game, honestly. Bills kind of cut it close there a little bit, but yeah, and you always have the daily Allen interception. So I'm just gonna expect that every game now. So
yeah, you could probably expect like one or two from him a week. I'm gonna go on to Atlanta and Indianapolis.
disappointing,
Well, I
Colts
do.
part, but
Yeah, the Colts were a bit disappointing, but I don't know. It kind of makes sense. Atlanta has to give themselves a little bit of hope before they can choke it all away. Um, Indianapolis
yep.
also has there are just certain teams they struggle against, just like play style wise, and I think that's kind of just what the Falcons were. The Falcons do actually have like a solid defense, and I think it hasn't really showed much this year, but they do have AJ Terrell and Jesse
Jesse
Bates,
Bates.
which is a
hmm
pretty good um, defensive back group. But yeah, I didn't see this one. But I'm not too surprised. Out of the AFC South teams to be competing for a playoff spot, they're the weakest in my opinion. So they're the team least ready. Um,
Yes. I mean, that
obviously,
means Arthur Smith gets to keep his job for a little bit longer. Bradshaw actually went on air and kind of went to town on Arthur Smith a little bit, basically saying that he's misusing Ritter, lying to him, and just let him play, basically. So I did see
he's,
that clip. Uh, but
he's misusing.
when does Arthur Smith get fired? I have no idea.
I think he might get. I don't. Again, like we said, I don't think any of the NFC South guys get fired until the end of the year. Um, but it's been pretty clear that he's not used um any of his offensive weapons very well. Solid win for them.
Yeah. Not so much for the next game though. Seahawks and Titans. Um,
I told you.
I
I
did say
told you.
Seattle was going to win. I did
I
say Seattle was going to win. However, I didn't get to watch that game, but I kept looking back and forth and just like, Seahawks, what are we doing here?
I,
You're
I
supposed to
mean,
be playoff caliber,
no, I don't
supposedly.
think the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks probably will get the 7th seed deservedly. So because they've not been super impressive. The thing that really irked me, and the Titans have been playing teams close. So the thing that irked me was uh the last sequence for the Titans ended on there were 29 seconds, I think, and Ryan Tannehill takes a sack, uh, takes 20 seconds to get everyone back to the line, and doesn't spike it, but throws it to a receiver in bounds, and that is how they lose the game. They were at like
Hmm.
midfield,
Yeah.
and I was like, that Ryan Tannehill is playing more like a rookie than Will Levis has this year. So
That's
I
saying something.
I would like to see Will Levis get back in there, but yeah, I'm not surprised it was close. Um, I was expecting close. I thought the Titans might have been able to pull it out, but they kind of choked it away. So props to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Lions and Vikings. Yeah, Lions and Vikings. Um, what a game. I was able to watch that. It was pretty much back and forth for at least the second half of the game. Um, the Vikings got really close, but Mullins killed them. 4 interceptions on the day.
yeah,
Um, Gibbs had like 2 touchdowns. And Montgomery also had a touchdown, as well as St. Brown. So can't really do much about that. Um, I guess other than that, uh, Vikings is kind of ending off on a disappointing note. If they had Cousins, I feel like they would be a really good team right now. They have the pieces. It's just they don't have that QB play right now, and that's what's really killing them. So
yeah. I mean,
there's always next year.
Justin Jefferson's trying to carry him to a playoff spot.
Yeah,
I don't think starting. I think Nick Mullins was probably the worst person you could have started because he just has nothing exciting about him, in my
yeah.
opinion.
I've
Just
been saying that. I don't know. He wasn't good at San Francisco either, so
yeah, he's just he goes out there and I'm like, oh, it's Nick Mullins.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'd rather have Josh Dobbs or who's the rookie? Darren Hall, I think.
Yeah, Darren Hall, I think that's his name.
Either of those two I would prefer over Nick Mullins because they're actually either have interesting storylines and or actually are fun to watch. Uh
Hmm.
Nick Mullins is kind of just
He's there.
yeah, it's not it's not really fun. But
No.
yeah, Justin Jefferson keeping them single-handedly keeping them in that game because
Hmm.
he
I
was ridiculous.
I did see that the Lions were celebrating in the locker room. They snapped a 29-year drought, uh, finally winning the North. What was it? I think there was something on the internet saying that in It's been 70 years since both the Lions and the Browns had a winning record the same season. 70 years. And the Lions are finally kings of the North. So we'll see what happens with the Browns. But
Well, they're not going to win the division.
they're not going to win the division, but I'm curious to see how far they go, especially with all that injury. I'm curious to see what Flacco does.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking up. We can get to that game in a little bit. But yeah, the it's big game for the Lions winning the division, and I'm happy for them. They deserve it. They've had they've been miserable for so long. Um, but yeah, go on to the Jets and the Commanders. I don't know why Zach Wilson has been out. Apparently he's dealing with something, but um, yeah, Jets almost choked it away, but they had a nice last second drive that was pretty solid. Uh,
Mhm.
Game doesn't really mean anything. Both teams are in the
Yeah,
shitter kind of. So
kind of mid. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean Jets and Commanders. It Jets and Commanders? What do you expect? It's not anything crazy over there. So I mean, Brissett's now taking the starting job, so there's that.
yeah, they're starting him at least this week. I don't know if it's a they don't trust Sam Howell anymore, or if it's a season's kind of or season is washed and they just don't feel like he needs to be in there. Um,
I think it's washed.
yeah, I
Lost.
hope they stick with him going forward. But um, yeah, Brees Hall did all right, but it was about it wasn't nobody was
Wasn't
really paying
exciting.
attention to that game.
No, I chose to not pay attention to that game. Yeah.
Kind of similar to the next one. Well, I think people expected this one to be a little bit more comfortable than it was. Packers Panthers, surprisingly close. Um, that Joe Barry led defense, uh, just not good. Um, Almost costing them another game against a bad offense. So it's really what you have with the Panthers. And Bryce Young, you looked good, whether
I
that's Joe
think
Kim or Joe Barry.
I think statistically and how he performed, I think that was Young's best NFL start so far.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's Joe Barry. Um,
It is Joe Barry. So
yeah, they almost choked away their last hope for a playoff spot because they need to win out if they want to get in. They need to win out and they need one of either the Seahawks or the Rams to lose. And then I think they need the Falcons to lose one more time. So they came real close to blowing it against the Panthers,
mhm.
but they held on. So
Yeah.
good for them.
Browns and Texans. Um, yeah, I mean, Flacco had another good game. Good
Amari
game if
Cooper had a
you
good game. That's
Amari Cooper had a fantastic
I
game.
I think Amari Cooper has done well every game that Joe Flacco has started. So I think
Yeah.
they might just have because I think he's been doing really well. Um,
Oh yes, definitely. So is Njoku. Njoku the last two games have been really well. I mean,
yeah,
loves his tight ends. So
yeah. I think Flacco might just he might have some chemistry there. Or maybe he's just, not being stupid and actually getting it to the best receivers on the field. But
yeah,
yeah,
I mean, just disappointing for the Texans though. I mean, their season might collapse on them, but they still have hope. They still got two games left, but I don't know what they're going to do with that, mostly because you know, they're now, what is it, 8-7?
they're
So they
eight and
need,
seven, but The
Yeah,
good
they need
news.
Jacksonville and the Colts to lose out. So
Well, they could. I think they could still make it as a wild card as well, just because of
yeah,
if the wild card's
yeah.
lost.
If they
I might
want the
mix it up.
division, they need. Yeah, if they want the division, they need the Colts and the Jags to lose out. But
Well, they
yeah,
they don't need to. They're all tied.
this is true. Forgot
So
about that.
it'll be
Speak.
interesting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Speaking of the Jaguars, um, I didn't even watch the game, but I kept. What was it? It was like a really high score to 0 at half. I was like, "Yep, Jacksonville is now on the brink of collapse because for some reason they cannot win a game lately. I don't know
uh,
if it's. I think it's just quarterback play
I
because
think it's a lot
Lawrence
more
has
than
been.
quarterback play.
I know, but Lawrence is, kind of gone down a little bit. I don't think it's anything. Oh, I don't think it's anything super major. It's just, I mean, two interceptions and a fumble. Um, I don't know what you're gonna do with that. This
Yeah,
was also at Tampa Bay,
it
so
was, but again, it's not super far for them. So as far as climate wise, it should be similar in what they're used to. Um, I don't know that Tampa Bay has a huge home field advantage. I don't feel like they're big. I think Baker has been playing very well. I think the issue with Jacksonville is there's a lot of coaching issues because their defense hasn't looked good. ETN hasn't done anything the past couple of weeks. It seems like the whole team has just dropped off, and I think that comes down to coaching. I think there's a lot of lack of confidence and almost a little bit of resemblance of the um Chargers against the Raiders, as far as like level of effort that's going forth and just like how much they're into it just seems like they're out of it. I don't know. It was tough to watch, especially me having a brother who is a Jaguars fan. Just kind of sitting there and going,
I don't know what to tell you. I
it's
really
just
don't.
they got a lot to figure out, and I think a lot of that is going to come down to coaching. If that's where you get a good coach is if you can rally your team to fix the issues and win. What honestly, they might only need to win like one more game this year
They
to
really,
clinch that division. So
yeah, that's all they really need. But
yeah,
where are they going to get that win now? That's the next question.
yeah. But going to uh not much I guess it's not much really to talk about, but Chicago, Arizona. Chicago gets pretty comfortable win. Um
Yeah, I would
really
say
Sam
so.
surprised because as much as the Cardinals have been like a scrappy team, the Bears have just especially their defense has looked pretty good.
Pretty solid.
Um
It's solid.
Fields did pretty solid. He did a lot of running. Um, Herbert ran the ball a decent amount. He also did pretty good. I don't remember exactly how many yards he had, but he had a pretty good day.
Yeah.
And yeah, just
Kmet had 107 yards.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a pretty good day for a few of those players. But I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, besides like the only news coming from that game, it's not even from the game itself. I mean, Caleb Williams is f- indicating that he does not want to go to the Bears. So that's like the only
the,
news coming out of that game.
I
So
don't think the Bears take him in the first place. Like that,
yeah, I
I've
don't
been
understand
saying
why
that,
he
but
saying that.
everyone keeps saying that. Well, everyone's been saying he's the number one overall pick. But I don't think the Bears take it. Bears either going to draft someone else, or what I think they should do is trade it and get more
Really,
draft
they they
capital because they don't
they
need the
could.
first. They
They really do not.
yeah. There's so many quarterbacks that are valued so high, and it just if they don't really need a quarterback. I think Fields is fine. I think your issue. I think he has the talent. You just any issues he has kind of probably comes down to coaching because he needs development. But I think he's got the talent and the drive to win enough that you can stick with him. And I don't know why no one wants to stick with him. Well, I don't know why the media thinks that the Bears don't want to stick with him. Because if I'm the Bears,
Yeah,
I'm sticking with Fields.
yeah, definitely. Because and there's already been like instances that he can have that potential. It's just will he be able to, take it to the next level and stay consistent? But and it's also coaching. So
Absolutely.
it's definitely coaching. So
Yeah.
but the next game though, I did watch this game, or at least the first half, because I had something else going on, which is unfortunate. I am upset that I didn't get to see the end of this game. Cowboys and Dolphins. Uh Pretty low scoring game in the sense that there wasn't a whole lot of touchdowns. There was mostly field goals from what I've heard, especially on the Dolphins part. Um, I mean, Lamb had a good day. Mostert had a good day. He has what 21 touchdowns this season, so he's been doing really well. Hill didn't do too much, but he did get 9 catches for 99 yards. Um,
That's his not too much. It's 99
yeah,
yards.
that's literally his not too much. So oh boy. Um, but coming out of that game, I do want to say that the refs have been very, very inconsistent in this game, or not just this game, but the entire league. Um, this game, the two roughing the passer calls. But yeah, the level of maturity between the two players, between Parsons and I think who was the person who sacked Prescott?
Was it?
It was 92.
I don't think that's Wilkins. That's Sealer.
No, it's Wilkins.
Is it
Wilkins.
Wilkins?
Wilkins sacked Wilkins sacked Prescott. Armstrong sacked Tua, offsetting penalties. The
Mm,
difference between Wilkins and Parsons, however, is that Parsons went on the internet and also complained during the game about that call. And
mhm.
his excuse is that, oh, I'm wearing the star on my helmet, so therefore there's a bias against us. The refs did the same thing for the Dolphins. I don't know what you're complaining about. Yes, the officiating itself sucks. I get it. It's been really inconsistent this year. It all sucks. However, you are also the most penalized team in the NFL. Also, the Dolphins have not been, very lucky when it comes to some calls, especially that sack on Prescott by Wilkins. But I don't know. It's just I'm tired of seeing Parsons complain on the internet. It's just like the reason why people don't like you is because of this kind of stuff. You act like such big babies, and we're not going to take you seriously every time you complain. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Uh, yeah. Those roughing the passer calls. So I guess I have a different perspective than most people. I think the one on the flag on Wilkins was. I don't think that one was because people argue full body weight, but it was like he picked him up and
his
then
hands.
like halfway down went, I'm not
Yeah, he put his hands up.
yeah,
He put
so
his
that one was
hands up.
like
He was like, "I'm not doing anything."
that's what I consider to be a weak pat roughing the passer
Roughing
call.
the passer.
But watching Micah Parsons, I'm like, that actually is about as close to an actual roughing the passer call that I've seen in the past like 5 years because he kind of just runs at him. He's like, I to me, he seems late and he actually just runs and from the blind side, just pops him in the back. Well, I guess, oh no, because it would be from the other way. So I guess it wasn't blind side, but he still like runs up and he just pops him. And I'm like, your hit was much harder than anyone else's or any
Yeah.
other roughing the passer calls I've seen. Like that is what I actually see is what I see is late and hard hits. But like, there's different
Nah.
kinds of hard hits. That's one that's just like seemed unnecessary. So to me personally, that seemed like an actual roughing the passer call.
Patriots and Broncos. Upset for sure. I did not expect that to happen. It's a lose-lose situation because it knocks Denver out of the playoff picture for the most part, and it knocks the Patriots to a situation where they won't get the number one pick. So yeah. Um, Elliott had a good day. Uh, Wilson, meh, was all right. Let's see here. Nothing too much out of that game. I think Broncos had a lead for the most part, and then they kind of choked it. And then they were tied at 23 apiece for a while, and then the Patriots kicked a walk-off winning field goal. And now, as of like almost an hour ago, Wilson is now being benched. So I'm assuming that's for trading in the future.
Maybe. There's another game. They're playing the Chargers, so it might just be a game they don't want to get him hurt. But or just maybe like, if they're comfortable playing Stidham and still winning, um, I think it's smart because there's a lot out of your control with this last loss. And
Last loss. Last loss.
yeah, with this recent loss, it's like if you could still win out and not make the playoffs with your loss to the Patriots. So at this point, it's out of your control. Like you still have to win games, but if they win this week, what do they play? Raiders next week, I think.
Believe so.
So it's like if you win this week and things like it seems like you have a chance, maybe you put Russell back in. But if not, then you keep Stidham in next week. So it's kind of just like you can win with Stidham, win with Stidham. So
They play the Chargers next week, actually. So that's more of a
yeah,
matchup where
I meant the last week. Was what
last
my
week.
bad.
Okay.
Last week they played Raiders. This week they played Chargers. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I don't really know. It was a pretty interesting game. Denver wore their sleek orange and white, which actually looked pretty good. But um, yeah, Patriots have kind of been an upset team lately. They're not playing like a 3-win team. They're maybe playing like a 6-win team, but
Yeah. I mean, they beat Pittsburgh and now they beat the Broncos. So I knew there was like a couple games later on down the road that they were going to win that was going to be surprising, but I didn't think it would be the Broncos of all teams.
yeah, but
But can't do
who
much about
knows?
that.
Getting more interesting games, the Christmas games. Um,
Christmas.
yeah. The Chiefs and the Raiders. I got this one wrong, and I'm fine with that. Uh, I I mean, I really trust me. I wanted to go with the upset. But props to you for committing to it. I was
Yeah.
just like, no, they'll
I
probably
was
lose.
fully committed for this one.
The
I
the
the
offense in
fact
that
that
game
the
was not
Raiders did
good.
yeah, the fact that the Raiders won that game with O'Connell not completing a pass since the first quarter is impeccable. I don't know how they did that. Probably the two pick sixes by
Well,
the Raiders, but
picture
it
simple.
was something else.
Yep.
Mahomes did not do so hot that day. Well, he did okay, but it wasn't enough. Um, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot going through there. A lot of things happened on the Chiefs side. Kelsey threw his helmet to the ground. Pacheco got hit by a knee to the head, went to the sidelines, and the evaluation table just broke. Mahomes was yelling at his O line, and yeah,
Yeah,
it was not a day. was not a day for the Chiefs.
It was a rough day. Raiders defense really pulled through for him.
Hmm.
Uh, Samir White, where apparently he goes by Zeus. Um, I don't. He had a pretty good day. They basically just ran after they went up. What was it, 17-7? They were just like, we're just going to run the ball,
And they
and
did.
yeah, and it worked for
Hmm.
most of that game. But yeah, Chiefs,
They were without without Jacobs.
they were.
So it's a bad thing for the Chiefs. Um, I mean, a couple good things coming out of that game. Antonio Pierce, he was crying on the sideline because it's like a big thing for him. He grew up. I didn't even know, but he grew up a Raiders fan, so he got to coach his team to a victory over like a defending Super Bowl champion team, and then a couple other situations. But I I will stand by this notion that someone made that if the Raiders do not keep Pierce around, Raiders deserve everything that comes their way because
Absolutely.
Pierce has done a phenomenal job so far, and he's gotten that team like shaped up, and I want him to stay. So I don't know. And then on overall, CBS and Nickelodeon delivered 29 million views on that game. So that's the biggest viewed game, I think, at least on that front. So this next game, though, I didn't, I had the game on, but I didn't really pay much attention to it because it wasn't very entertaining, or at least until the end. Um, Giants and Eagles, kind of disappointing Eagles wise, because I know, yes, a win is a win. However, it was a really sloppy one. Um, Giants could have came back and pulled that from the Eagles, but it wasn't a great showing on the Eagles' part. I mean, they finally got the win, yes, but it was at the cost of showing how weak they are now, and I hope that they can turn that around. But it's a it's an interesting situation. I did
Yeah.
hear a bunch of people saying the refs helped the Eagles again, so I'll take that for a grain of. So
Yeah. Um, Eagles all year have always been kind of like when it close, they don't blow. They haven't been blowing anyone out. I think watching this game has is still kind of a for concern. Um, for the Eagles because like yeah, you probably should have won by more, and they were kind of cruising the first like half, 3 quarters, whatever, and then that fourth quarter they kind of just didn't get anything going, and the Giants were able to crawl back. Um, so yeah, I mean
yeah,
the the bright side for Giants and the downside for the Eagles is they have to play again in 2 weeks, and this time it will be at home for the Giants. So Philadelphia's got to actually
they got to
fix their
win out.
stuff because yeah, that I wouldn't say that that win qualifies as everything being fixed because not
No, it wasn't really good.
it
And
was
then
not.
there was also rumors going around that Hertz hasn't been really communicating with the team very well. So there's that. But hopefully they can fix it
Well,
because they're not going to be ready.
he did buy his old line. What Rolexes? I
Yeah,
believe.
I think so.
I think it was
Maybe. I'm not
Rolexes.
sure.
Like,
I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff.
yeah, I wanna start with saying I got so much shit from so many people about, oh, how are you gonna how are you gonna feel when the Ravens lose and they're gonna get crushed and everything? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I just sat there and I went, well, I think the worst that can happen is we lose a close game and we still feel optimistic. But nobody's really giving us a chance to win this game. So yeah, I'm just gonna yeah, okay, we'll see what happens. And I sat there and I was like, wow, game's going pretty good. Like how this is going. How are you guys doing? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it was one
Everyone
of those
else.
games. I am so upset that I did not get to watch this game live. I was what was I doing? I was doing something with family, but my immediate family is not like we must watch football all the time. But for the situation that I was in, I was very stoked to see how this game was going to play out. And I'm surprised how well the Ravens clamped down on the 49ers. I mean, Flowers had a good day, Edwards had a good day. Jackson has it was above average performance, but it wasn't like explosive because it's still the 49ers. But he still had a good enough game where it was like, yeah, that's pretty good. Four interceptions. Hamilton had two of them. So that was interesting. Purdy, one, two, three, four interceptions. He
Hmm.
got benched by Darnold, and
He
Darnold did better.
Purdy suffered an injury, and I think it was just a precautionary thing. They were like, oh, they were already down a bunch. They were like, we're not going to keep you in. There's no reason. Darnold still went in
Yeah,
through an interception though.
yeah, still got
But
a touchdown.
yeah,
What did Purdy get hit?
it was in the fourth. I think it was a leg thing. He was like, he was slow to get up. So I think it was just like we need you for the playoffs. Come sit
So
down.
come chill out. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
So that's
but this,
sucks on the
I mean,
Niners part, but
it was what I was saying was like how the Ravens would win that game. It wasn't exactly the way I thought it would be because I thought the Ravens were gonna jump out to like an earlier lead in the first quarter. Which by the way, that first quarter was messy. I really liked that was the thing that gave me confidence was how the Ravens played on defense. Their defense was the main problem. Um, Lamar Jackson started to heat up later, but yeah, the thing that worked, uh, I think that allowed it to be such a marginal win is like I said, the Ravens kind of open games better, and the 49ers don't do well when they're behind. And I think that is like a large part of it is the mistakes ramped up as they fell further behind, and they weren't really equipped to come back from that. So I think a good defensive performance and just kind of like, finishing off the job got them to
pretty much.
a solid win over a good team. Um, yeah, it's kind of just a big old you to everyone else who was just like, you're gonna lose. I'm like, I guess we'll see.
I I chose the Niners in the sense that it was logical to choose them as the home team and everything, but I was like, I'm gonna give the Ravens a chance at this game because they're both the number one teams right now. And the situation became like, oh, who's gonna come out on top? Because they're both, really good units. In
Yeah,
this sense, I'm surprised. So I'm not upset about this outcome. It's just I don't understand why the Niner fan base was not giving the Ravens like their credibility because the Ravens are actually a good team this year.
yeah. Well,
So, and
it
they
didn't
showed
seem
it.
like really anyone was given like anyone I saw make picks pick the 49ers.
Hmm.
The 49ers went into the game like 4.5 point favorites, which
Which is
doesn't
fair.
seem like a lot, but that means that people think that the Ravens are it's like people are 50-50 on whether the Ravens will lose by 3 or 7 or somewhere in that range. And it's like I feel like that should be
Yeah.
closer to a betting line of like 2 maybe. That was
Yeah.
just me, but
But
yeah.
well, I'll give the credit to them though, because I mean it's hard to win in Levi Stadium, so it's it's hard to win against the Niners. So well, here they are. So I mean,
Here we are.
mhm. I mean, Keyshawn Johnson also walked off the undisputed uh, show after Sherman disagreed with Jackson securing the MVP after that win. So
Was that
there was
what
a
the I thought what the I saw that the that he walked off. I thought the thing he walked off was because someone said Josh Allen should have it.
yeah, that's Sherman. Sherman said Josh Allen should have the MVP, which is I understand the argument for it because he has 40 touchdowns in the season, but I don't know. That's his opinion. I
I
don't think
mean,
Allen has the MVP this year, but
I think he's a
yeah.
good quarterback still, but
He's
I
still a good quarterback. I just don't think this season particularly he has the MVP. So
if it was me, I would say probably how would I want it to go? One McCaffrey, two Lamar, three Brock Purdy still. How I think it will go will probably be Lamar, McCaffrey, probably like Dak at three.
yeah,
But
I don't think Dak gets it anymore.
no, he's there with like Purdy. Um, I don't think I don't think you there's anyone I would put above Purdy or Prescott though, besides maybe Tyreek Hill. But other than that, I don't think you put anyone else above him other than Lamar and McCaffrey. I
CMC.
want McCaffrey to win it, even though I'm a Ravens
I do
fan.
too. I want CMC to win it, but I
Yeah,
don't know. It's a quarterback award now, so we'll see.
just why I want him to win it.
Yeah. Um yeah, so that's all the games. We can go over predictions real quick.
Yeah,
Um so for week 17, we got Thursday night, Jets and Browns.
I'm going Browns. They're both kind of just on like the same situation. Um, the Browns are just doing more on offense. Um, and their defense is probably better. So I think the Jets might give them a little bit of a fit, but I am gonna go with the Browns because they've just looked better.
Mhm. I also choose the Browns mostly because the Browns have also, I agree, they have also been on fire. Flacco's been at least above average, um, compared to a bunch of other quarterbacks. Um, and then if Cooper can still do what he did against the what was it, the Texans, if he does the same thing against the Texans, I think they're fine. But yeah, we'll see how they play against that secondary. That secondary is it's a huge question mark. So we'll see. Uh,
Yep.
Cowboys and Lions. I must say Cowboys because it's a home game for the Cowboys. Lions, I don't remember the last time they won in Dallas. So I'm not gonna give them a whole lot of like, here you go. But I don't know. I think Dallas wins this one.
Yeah. Dallas is playing for more. Detroit just got their division title, so they're kind of content. They could
Kind of,
fight
they
for
might
one
let
or
off on like,
two
yeah,
seed, but they have
yeah. I mean,
this isn't the week really to fight for that higher seed. And again, Dallas um is really good at home. They've been really good at home,
yeah, they're
and
undefeated at
so
home.
yeah, Detroit again. I think will give them a fit, but
Yeah.
I think Dallas is just gonna do there's
Mhm.
be the Cowboys and you know provide some hope for their fans for some reason. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Patriots and Bills. I'm gonna choose Bills. However, I think the Patriots will keep it very, very close.
I don't
Not
know
only
if
because it's division. What?
I don't know if I'd say very close. Maybe one score still, but not like a 2 point game.
I don't know. That Patriots team, like they're kind of like the Cardinals in a sense, where they're kind of scrappy at sometimes, but they're more fit, I guess. Zappy's been doing okay. Um, so I'm gonna give him his credit, but I don't think they beat the Bills, but they do keep it at least a little bit closer.
I'm a little
Probably
scared.
like, yeah. I mean, the Bills should win this because it's at home,
Mhm.
but we'll see. Falcons and Bears. Who do you have?
Oh, Falcons Bears. I'm taking the Bears. Just because I
I
like
also did.
I'm taking momentum, but also, I mean, well, like you mentioned last week, the Falcons like to choke, and this is kind of a choke game, I think. Although it would be more interesting if they won and then lost in a game that would win them division. But um, yeah, I don't know. I like how Chicago's playing. I like their defense. And I think their offense does enough to win them the game. So, and it being home.
I'm a, I'm agree with that one. Bears definitely win that one, but I don't trust the Falcons, especially away. Uh, Raiders and Colts. Ugh. This one I had to think about because of how well the Raiders have been doing especially on defense. I kind of gave the Raiders the win on this one, but I also I wouldn't be upset if the Colts did win this as well. I think it's like a 50-50 in my opinion,
Uh,
but
this is yeah. It's a I have the Raiders winning. I think the Raiders just have one of the I feel like their defense does enough. Um, and I think their offense will be able to move it easier against the Colts compared to how they did against the Chiefs, because the Colts don't have as good of a defense. So I think their offense has a little bit easier of a time. Their defense makes it hard on the Colts. I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts won, but I just feel like the Raiders are playing better football. So kind of just
yeah.
going with that.
Rams and Giants. We got the Rams and Giants.
I'm going Rams. I'm almost expecting it to go how the last two have gone. So get out to a pretty decent lead. Fourth quarter, kind of let them come back a little bit. Um, the thing that kind of solidified it for me was seeing that Tyrod Taylor is starting over Danny DeVito. Not Danny
Yeah.
DeVito, Tommy DeVito. My bad. Wrong DeVito. I wish.
Wrong DeVito. But yeah, I think the Rams do win this one. Unless something weird happens. But I don't know. We've seen upsets before. I don't know. Cardinals and Eagles. Eagles.
Yeah,
I
Eagles.
swear to God.
They just
I'm gonna be so upset if the Eagles lose this one
I'm
because
upset that
this
the
is like
Eagles have this easy of a schedule remaining.
yes.
And it's the
And
fact that they could also still lose the division with it. Because if they lose to the Giants next week, not this upcoming week, but the following week, even if they beat the Cardinals, if they lose to the Giants, the Cowboys can take back the division, I think. And
we'll
I
see.
we'll just see. Eagles might be able to stumble in the division or into the playoffs, winning the division, but they might be screwed either way. But yeah, I'm still sticking with the Eagles just because yeah, Cardinals, even though they're scrappy, they've had a hard time actually winning games. So go with that.
Saints and Buccaneers. I have the Buccaneers winning this one because one, it's Buccaneers home. Two, I don't trust the Saints to do anything on the road. Three, the Saints have also been just not very consistent. And I know it's Derek Carr. I don't know. There's something off about Derek Carr that I just don't see. Like I don't trust his ability to win games anymore. But
He's yeah.
I don't,
Something's up with that offense. Derek Carr's eh. He's kind of he's more of what I thought of him when he was on the Raiders. I think he was better than what I thought of him when he was on the Raiders, but I think he's showing it more now, which is kind of just eh.
Yeah,
But um,
yeah.
kind of hard to go against Buccaneers and Baker right now. Baker's love me some good Baker. He's
They
he's
make me
entertaining.
he already baked us some stuff on Christmas, so he needs to give us more. Um, yeah. Niners and Commanders.
Niners.
Niners.
That's just and especially
You don't
like
need to ponder that one.
and I don't think the Niners are gonna go back on a losing streak. I think they just had a tough game. Um, which means they're probably gonna be real upset. So Commanders are gonna have a bad time. They're also starting, like you said, they're starting Brissett now. So I don't see it being a fun time for them. So we're just plain and
No.
simple going with the 49ers. Easy win.
Mhm. Yep. And now we have Panthers at Jaguars. I swear to God, if the Jaguars lose this game, I do not trust them taking the division. Because if they fail to win against the Panthers, I have no idea who's going to take the South. And it won't be the Jags. But I have the Jaguars winning, but
I do
we'll see.
too, but um yeah, I think they could still lose. Like I said, they could still lose this game and win the division. Uh yeah, I really hope not because I would hate. I don't. Yeah, but I, just with how I have things planning out, I think regardless of what happens this week, I think it comes down to uh next week. So yeah, I'm taking the Jaguars, but I think either it. I think regardless, either way, it comes down to next week. So we'll
Mhm.
see. I have Jaguars
Guess we'll see.
probably by like 14, 18, somewhere in there. Um, and what? Tennessee at Houston.
Yeah, I have Houston winning this one. Uh, but I don't know.
Um,
Titans might keep it close.
Titans have been really good at keeping it close. Um, they lost in overtime to Houston a couple weeks ago. Both quarterbacks are questionable. Texans have not been playing really good at all.
Amazing.
Yeah.
They're without a QB. They're kind of losing it just a little bit, but that's about
Yeah.
it.
I
So
think I think I have Titans winning just because I don't know. I had them winning against the
they play
Seahawks.
spoiler.
Yeah,
They
I think
played
this is
spoiler. So
this is another game that they can play spoiler for, and I think especially if Will Levis is in, if Will
mhm,
Levis plays, I think they have a pretty good shot. Um,
for sure.
but yeah, we can go on to what's left of this slate. The
Okay.
Miami at Baltimore game.
I have Baltimore winning this one because I don't think the Dolphins win at uh Baltimore.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
they've struggled a little bit on the road. Um, I think that defense is going to give them a hard time. I don't think they let them throw all over them, and I think their I think their defense does enough to allow the offense to dictate how if we win that game. So it'll be
Mhm.
on the offense, and I think with how Lamar has played the past couple of weeks, I think we are okay winning that one. So I also have Baltimore. Go on to the 3 o'clock slate, which we have Pittsburgh at Seattle. As
I
much
have Seattle.
as much as I want that to be the case, I think Pittsburgh wins here because they're still just gonna
They
magic
need
their
that
way.
500 record. They need that
Yeah,
500 record so
and
badly. They need it.
it's it's this week or it's next week, and next week's the Ravens. So, um, if I were to hedge my
Upset.
bets, I think it'd be against Seattle. And
Yeah, but if they don't win here, they're definitely winning at Baltimore or whatever that is. So
Uh,
I don't know. I mean, you lose a game here and there, so I'm not worried about the Ravens if they lose to the Steelers then. But
no,
yeah,
then there's a chance that well, because if they beat the Dolphins this week, they have the 1 seed. They'll be 2 games ahead with a tiebreaker. They'll be benching their guys, so it's possible. But even with Tyler Huntley, I still think we have a chance to beat the Steelers. But that's next week. Um, I just I think this is probably the week for the Steelers. But also, when I put faith in the Steelers to win games that they probably should win,
they don't do
probably
very
should.
well.
They don't. I'm so mixed because I think Rudolph is not going to have as good of a game as he did. I think it's going to go much more poorly. But
Mhm.
I just feel like this just feels like a Tomlin miracle win. Gets back to 500, keeps him in the race, and then
That's it.
still don't make the
That's all
playoffs.
they do.
Um, but yeah, I'm going Steelers.
Yeah. All right.
I'd love to see the Seahawks win though. We got Cincinnati at Kansas City.
Yep. I have the Chiefs winning this one.
I also have the
They
Chiefs.
should. They should beat the Bengals.
It's just
So
it's all on that defense. That defense is or the defense is their saving grace. That's what's winning them games. And I think they might be able to uh cause fits a lot for Browning. I can definitely see the Bengals winning this one because the Chiefs have not been doing good at all. Um, wouldn't be super upset if I got this one wrong either. But
yeah.
I'm just going with my gut on this one, and that's the Chiefs at home.
Yeah. All right. And then we got Chargers and Broncos. I picked the Broncos because it's at home. Also, I don't trust the Chargers to beat the Broncos at Denver.
Now with
So
Easton
I think
Stick.
the no, no, Stick does not impress me, or at least
No.
as of now. But and then we got Packers at Vikings. So this one was kind of hard, mostly because I couldn't tell if the Packers had that, that mentality to, actually defend. So I'm going to pick the Vikings. However, I think it might be close, mostly because the Vikings have not been good, at least on the offensive side of the ball, when it comes to like QB to receiver or QB to running back. But I do think the Vikings might steal this win barely. Also, Hawkinson is out, and I know that is a blow, but I do think the Vikings still managed to pull off a victory here. So we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of was leaning on the narrative aspect, I think. Well, no, I won't say that. I used logic as well. Narrative wise, it's the Vikings beat the Packers earlier. I think this is so it's kind of revenge game. Um, but the Vikings are very beat up. You don't really know who you're gonna start at quarterback. Your only offensive weapon is Justin Jefferson, really, because Addison and Hawkinson are injured. Um, Hawkinson for the year. Um, Addison, I think I think it's like a week to week. But the defense is really good. And I think it's going to be a close game, but I have no faith in the Vikings right now. And I think the Packers are actually have a chance at the playoffs. And I think that they actually, uh,
Mhm.
it's well, because you'll see next week. I think it's Rams or Seahawks. One of them has to play the 49ers week
I think
18.
it's the
So
Rams. It's the Rams that play the Niners. So,
Packers just have
but
to win out, and if the Rams lose to the 49ers, they're in because they have tiebreaker over them. So
true. That's
Packers,
if the Packers don't lose this next week. So
Yeah, they do have to win out, but I think that again, Vikings defense is very good, but I think Packers are well more well more equipped to win this game than the Vikings with just how
yeah,
QB play and the offense in general, it just has not been good at all. So
yeah. And then kind of want to go over the playoff predictions just very quickly. The only thing that changed for me is that Philadelphia got the second seed over the Lions. AFC side, um, Bills still take that division for now. Jacksonville is now the 4th seed. Houston Texans are the 7th seed. And that's basically all that changed. But it is for me.
yeah,
But
um,
you're not sure yet?
I I'm just watching
Yeah.
things play out. I'm pretty set. Baltimore at 1. Um, I feel pretty confident. Miami still takes 2. But I think the Bills might still get in. But
Yeah.
it's so hard to predict. Just I just want to watch it play out at this point. Take a step back.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's it for that's all I got for this week. So
Yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, that wraps up this week. Um one day we'll be back in uh the studio, but currently at home. I'm visiting family and I haven't seen them in a while and I get to see extended family this weekend. So I'm excited for New Year's. So not only that, we get to see college football. So yeah, well, thank you for joining. See you guys later.
bye.